Your next computer is not a computer. 3 years have passed since Apple used this slogan, but my next computer is still a computer. I mean, I won't buy a tablet that doesn't even have a calculator just to replace my laptop. Not to mention that the cost is more than a MacBook Pro if I buy it with a Magic Keyboard. So instead, the new iPad Air is more of a normal tablet than the latest iPad Pro, a normal upgrade at a normal price. Those of you who really need a tablet should check out the iPad Air M2 version because this is the one most people want. Appearance-wise, the latest iPad Air is almost unchanged from its previous gen, and functionality-wise as well. If you already own an iPad Air 5, the latest model won't bring anything new to the table. The size hasn't changed, the weight hasn't changed, and the battery life hasn't changed. Neither of the camera, and it still doesn't support Face ID, either on the front or the back. So side fingerprint recognition is the only way you can quickly unlock this iPad Air. Did you know the fingerprint recognition button actually recognizes not only fingerprints, but palm prints as well? As long as you record your palm into the iPad, holding it like this will also unlock it quickly. One piece of good news is that the Air, like the Pro version, comes in a choice of 2 sizes. Choosing between 11-inch and 13-inch all depends on whether you care more about portability or the video and audio experience. But that's the only good news, because the rest is bad. The 11-inch version we got here has a screen that's almost identical to the one on the Air 5, which means there's no improvement in the display. It's still LCD, still 60Hz, and even if you buy the larger 13 version, the peak brightness is only slightly higher. Even the PPI is the same as other 2 models. Nano texture glass, that will only happen in our dreams. But there's a way to experience a similar effect with your iPad Air. Apply a piece of Paperlike screen protector. Just like its name says, Paperlike produces a screen protector that resembles paper and provides more friction than regular film. It makes your writing experience on an iPad as if you were writing on a paper. Of course, it's made of a frosted material, so it's also somewhat anti-reflective and anti-fingerprint. In fact, if you guys think about it, if it is about a writing experience, the nano texture glass on the iPad Pro is not as good as Paperlike, since the surface particles of nano texture glass are too fine. The friction is too low, which makes it not a good writing experience. Paperlike has a lot of tiny micro beads, they are called nanodots, which simulate the texture of paper perfectly. What's more, nano texture glass can't apply any film. Once there's a scratch on the screen, it will become a scar in your eyes forever. The Paperlike can be replaced at any time, and every time you tear it off, the screen remains perfect and flawless. A screen protector with a lower cost and a better writing experience, that's what Paperlike has in store for all iPad users who like to use a stylus. The latest 4 iPad models are on their way, so if you're interested in Paperlike, you can check out the link down below. What's funny is that perhaps the biggest upgrade to this Air is the new Apple Pencil Pro. I'm sure you all know about the new features of the new pencil with the addition of the squeeze, barrel roll, and haptic feedback, as well as hover to preview exactly where it will touch down on the display. Latency-wise, I feel it's pretty much the same as the 2nd gen. I think the 2nd gen Apple Pencil will be enough for most people though, but you don't have the choice because this stylus can only be used on the latest iPad Air and iPad Pro. The older iPads are not compatible with it at all. I mean, not only can't it magnetically attach to the iPad, let alone charge over the iPad magnetically. You can't even write with it, it's completely unusable. Of course, your 1st and 2nd gen Apple Pencil won't work on iPad Air M2 either, so you want to use the stylus on Air M2, you will have to buy this new Apple Pencil Pro or the Apple Pencil, which has fewer features and is a pain to charge. While the iPad Pro is using the latest M4 processor, I thought the new iPad Air would at least use an M3 processor, right? But I still underestimated the cook. The new iPad Air uses an M2 processor. I know, the M2 is strong enough for a tablet and you can't even find a place for the M2 to release its full power. Even a game like Genshin Impact, which is a nightmare for a phone, runs on this Air M2 like it's a warming up session for it. Since it doesn't have a 120Hz screen like the Pro series, it's not really the processor that's limiting its gaming frame rate, it's this 60Hz screen. Still about gaming, Apple's tablets do one thing right, they all support controller connectivity, which takes the gaming experience to a whole new level. If Android tablets want to connect to a controller to play games, they have to download third-party key mapping software and make complicated settings. But sometimes the keys won't work, so the game experience isn't as good as it is on iPad. The Air, like the iPad Pro, has a processor so powerful that it could theoretically even do the work of a MacBook, such as editing video. Unfortunately, they are not equipped with the macOS, and the iPad OS ecosystem does not yet allow them to do too much specialized work. So editing some vlog footage shot on iPhone is probably the heaviest work it should do in its life. If it's not for work, but just for entertainment, then the iPad Air must be the better one than many Android tablets. Because a lot of software has UI adaptations for the iPad that Android tablets don't have, Android tablets feel like a big cell phone to me, and a lot of the UI is simply stretched and enlarged, which is much less common with the iPad. Even when it comes to software that doesn't have adaptations, the iPad ensures that the zoom is proportional and doesn't get very cramped. The Air has a 29 watt-hour battery, or about 9,800 milliamp, not too big or too small, and thanks to the excellent M2 chip, it's actually quite power efficient. On the contrary, the charging power still sucks as usual. Charging with the included 20-watt charger takes 2.5 hours. Of course, you can also buy a PD charger with 36 watt or more, which will save you some time. To be honest, there really isn't much to talk about with this iPad Air. A lot of them are just features and selling points that were present in the previous gen. In short, it's just an upgraded processor and additional larger size option. Even so, it's the only normal iPad Apple has. The Mini is too small, the number series is too outdated, and the iPad Pro is too expensive. Only the Air is the iPad that's just right for everyone. I still recommend people who want to buy an iPad but know nothing about tablets to get the Air. Even the upgrades are a bit small. You can never go wrong with this line of tablets. Alright, hope you liked this video, and we're from Gizmochina. See you next time.